So for those of you who didn't see my video explaining what the Amazon Associates program is and how it's going to work with this channel, let me do a brief recap on that for a moment. So Amazon has created a program called the Amazon Associates program that helps YouTube creators such as myself in a way to monetize our channel. Because as you probably know, YouTube has become stricter and stricter about what they want to monetize on YouTube for their platform. It's becoming very hard for YouTube creators to make money from their videos the way they used to, or to grow their channels with income the way that they used to. The reason why is they're saying it's not advertiser friendly. Point in case, when you report the subjects that mainstream media doesn't talk about, it's not advertiser friendly. So they won't monetize your videos. So if you do shopping on Amazon, if you make purchases, you go to the link below, you click on it, it takes you to Amazon just like you normally would go to Amazon. You can then search for whatever product it is you wanted to buy, and by making that purchase after clicking on the link, this channel will get a commission of that sale. And it is a great way to help support this channel and help us spread our message and grow this channel so that we can reach more and more people out there. So we thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoy the video. So Tulsi Gabbard went on The View again the other day. Joy Behar got a nasty surprise when Tulsi Gabbard got there. We're going to be taking a look at the clip in just a moment, doing discussion and review as we watch. But before we get to it, I've just got to say, these people who think they are going to come after Tulsi Gabbard, say all these horrible things about her, that she's a Russian asset, she's, a traitor, she's committing treason, whatever it is they want to, try to push out and make the people believe today. I don't get them, man. Where do they think that this is going to get them? Tulsi is not afraid to call you out. She is not afraid to take the gloves off. She's shown on more than one occasion that she will do it without hesitation. So, I really don't get it. And my thing is, okay, if you want to smear, if you want to call her names, if you want to try to paint this, bad view of her to the public, then it would be very foolish of you to allow her to come on your show, because she's going to make you look like a horse's ass. Pure and simple. So, with that being said, let's take a look at the back and forth exchange on The View between Tulsi Gabbard and Joy Behar.
We were just talking about EU Ambassador Sondland changing his testimony yesterday, that he had to be refreshed about quid pro quo, and you've been skeptical more than a lot of the Democrats about the impeachment inquiry. Were you surprised by what he did yesterday?
Well, look, the facts are important, and we'll get to that. I want to start with something that I think is also important about facts, because recently on your show here...
I was just going to get to that.
Good. Yeah. Helping you out.
You want me to ask you the question?
No, look, some of you have accused me of being a traitor to my country, a Russian asset, a Trojan horse, or a useful idiot, I think was the term that you used. Which basically means that I'm naive or lack intelligence to know what's going on.
They use that.
I want to let your viewers know exactly who I am.
So, before Tulsi rips into her, have you noticed all the interruptions from Joy? Tulsi just starts going off. You've called me a traitor. Well, no one's accused you of... You called me a useful idiot. Well, you're useful. Well, but that's a Russian term. That's a Russian term. Immediately, Joy knows that Tulsi is that big snarling dog that is chasing after you. There's no tree for you to go up. There's nowhere for you to jump to get away, and that dog is seconds away from taking a big chunk out of your ass. And now she's trying to run and scurry all over the place to figure out, what can I say? What can I do? I got to take some attention off me. I better start going on the defensive here. So she's immediately trying to save herself a little bit before Tulsi rips into her. And now it gets interesting.
All right.
Set the record straight. I am a patriot. I love our country. I am a strong and intelligent woman of color, and I have dedicated almost my entire adult life to protecting the safety, security, and the freedom of all Americans in this country. It was the attacks on 9/11.
Well, I guess we're getting a little bit far ahead of ourselves, but Franklin Graham finds you refreshing. He doesn't find me refreshing. Richard Spencer, the white nationalist leader, says he could vote for you.
Joy, this is why
you're on
I'm
Tucker
here.
Carlson at least 10 times. Why don't you go on Chris Wallace's show?
This is why I'm here.
Very, 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 very cheap line of attack there from Joy Behar, by the way. This is all they've got to try and fight Tulsi with. So because a white nationalist, Richard Spencer, has said that he could vote for Tulsi Gabbard, oh, you can't vote for her. Can't vote for her because she's a white nationalist. Oh, so we should vote for Joe Biden, the guy who said he made deals with white supremacist, politicians back in the day. Oh, or since you're about to see the whole Hillary Clinton thing come up, maybe that's why we all should have voted for Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump. Because Trump, all of the, David Duke and the KKK were behind Donald Trump, so that's why we shouldn't have voted for Donald Trump, right? Oh, that's right. Hillary Clinton sang the praises of Senator Robert Byrd when he died. Robert Byrd was a well-known Ku Klux Klansman and was not only in the Klan, a high-ranking member of the Klan. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was like Grand Wizard or something like that. And Hillary Clinton sang his praises. Again, this is Senator Robert Byrd, a man who was reported to have started singing the lines from Dixie, I wish I was in the land of cotton, when a black female intern got into an elevator with him. And Hillary Clinton sings this guy's praises. So, congratulations, Joy. You have such a wonderful argument here. I mean, it flawless.
Because you and other people continue to spread these innuendos that have nothing to do with who I am.
Well, Hillary Clinton started it, and then you shot back at her, boy. You called her the queen of warmongers.
You doubled down, unfortunately, you doubled down on the baseless.
Just look at the look on Joy Behar's face here. She's got her little note card just trying to pull these little one-liners out at every little part just to try and get back at Tulsi Gabbard here. Tulsi Gabbard's sitting there right to Joy's face, and you can tell Joy can't even look her in the eyes, man. She can't even make solid eye contact with her here. Okay? But she's sitting there looking Joy in the face saying, you are spreading these false innuendos about me. Meanwhile, Joy's sitting down there sucking her dentures, looking all over the table. Trying to read off her little note card again. Well, Hillary Clinton started it, and boy, you sure did strike back at her. You called her the queen of warmongers. Yeah, because she is.
Accusations that she made that strikes at the core of who I am. I'm a soldier. Because of the attacks on 9/11, I enlisted in the military to go after and defeat and destroy the evil that visited us on that day. I've served now for over 16 years, deployed twice to the Middle East during the height of the war, where every single day I saw firsthand the terribly high human cost. That's why I ran for Congress.
We actually have the clip of Hillary Clinton, just to put this in context of what we're talking about. Let's take a look at that.
I'm not making any predictions, but I think they've got their eye on somebody who's currently in the Democratic primary and are grooming her to be the third-party candidate. She's the favorite of the Russians. They have a bunch of sites and bots and other ways of supporting her so far. And that's assuming Jill Stein will give it up, which she might not, because she's also a Russian asset.
So
really? I mean, this is outrageous. This is outrageous and offensive on so many levels. I've served as a member of Congress now for almost 7 years, receiving high-level national security and intelligence briefings, serving on the Foreign Affairs Committee, the Armed Services Committee, the Homeland Security Committee, working to ensure the safety and security of the people of this country. This is why I'm running for president, to continue that commitment of service.
So are you surprised, though, that when people see bots and things and all the things that we've sort of been seeing heading your way, that people have these questions? Because she's not the only one. Hillary, I don't think, is the only one. So what she's saying is she feels they are grooming you. You're saying nobody's grooming me. I'm doing what I'm doing because I'm a soldier and a patriot.
It's offensive to me as a soldier, as an American, as a member of Congress, as a veteran, and frankly, as a woman, to be so demeaned in such a way.
But you called her the personification of rock.
So demeaned
She's a woman
in such
too.
a way. Well, I'm pointing to the fact that she has continued this legacy of being.
And here comes Joy again with a strong defense for Mrs. Clinton. Well, you called her the personification of rock. She's a woman too. Maybe she is, but I don't believe in pulling punches either when you have to tell the truth. Okay? Hillary Clinton is a scumbag. Pure and simple. She is corrupt. And she is very evil, and she uses very nefarious means and tactics to try to get what she wants. So yes, she's the personification of rot. And unless Tulsi used another line, by the way, I believe she said that she's the personification of the rot that has affected the Democrat Party or something along those lines. In other words, been degrading what old school Democrats, not so much on social issues, but working class family issues, used to stand for. Obviously, we know there was a lot of racial issues back in the day with the Democratic Party, but they were also much more of a working class people's party, whereas a lot of them claim to be today, but they're really almost just as corporatist as a lot of mainstream Republicans.
The world's police around the world that has waged wars costing the lives of thousands of my brothers and sisters in uniform. I'm speaking out against that and
What's
to
your evidence
change
to that?
to change.
Well, can I?
Are you serious?
Let's hear it.
Are you serious?
Let's hear it.
I served in the war
Not
in
you,
Iraq.
her. You said.
Woo! The ignorance that you would imply that someone has to ask the question, what is the evidence that Hillary Clinton is a massive warmonger who pushes regime change, foreign interference, and wants to be the world's police? And you have the nerve to ask, what evidence do you have of that? Either one, you have been living under a rock and have not followed anything with the Clintons or politically or what she's voted on or what she stood for so long. You just have not paid attention to it at all. Or you're implying that the person that you're asking the question to is that politically uninformed, that they have no evidence of it. But I can promise you, if you follow very much politics, it's not hard to come up with the evidence. Joy, you just stepped in it big time.
Exactly.
She's a
I
warmonger.
served
How do
in
you
the
come
war
up with
in
that?
Iraq
Yeah.
that she championed. She championed a regime change war
Did you not
in
believe
Libya.
in that war?
I believe the lies that were told to us.
Well, so did she.
Look, it is indisputable. It is indisputable to say anything other than the fact that let me just close this out, that Hillary Clinton throughout her career has led with a foreign policy of interventionism and being the world's police, going and toppling dictators in other countries that has caused such destruction and loss of life. I'm against that. I'm running for president to change that. Rather than actually debate me on the issues, she and others are resorting to these smear tactic campaigns, seeking to undermine me, smear my character, and sending a message to anyone who dissents. Toe the line, or you too will be smeared.
Now, let's break this down step by step. Tulsi had a very sound-bited, I think, response due to maybe time constraint or whatever. But Joy Behar's big gotcha question right there at the end. What evidence do you have that Hillary Clinton is the queen of warmongers and just wants all this regime change and you know, carry on being the world's police all throughout the world and blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, for one, she voted to go to war in Iraq. You know someone who didn't vote to go to war in Iraq? Like him or hate him, Bernie Sanders. You know other people who said we shouldn't go to war in Iraq and got demonized for it? Jesse Ventura. Okay? So there are a lot of people out there who knew it was bogus. There were also other foreign intelligence agencies that said that the whole thing that we were being told by our intelligence agencies, yeah, there was no real evidence of that. That whole weapons of mass destruction thing, yeah, it turned out to be a bunch of... Now, here is the biggest difference between Tulsi, if she believed at the time we should go to war in Iraq, maybe. I haven't seen, any history of how she felt at the time. Obviously, she enlisted in the military, but she did that after 9/11. And we've established Iraq did not attack us on 9/11. That was Al-Qaeda. So your apples and oranges there in the first place, Joy. But Hillary Clinton had a position in the United States Senate when it was time to go to war in Iraq. She was getting a lot of behind-the-scenes briefings and intel that even someone in the military, such as Tulsi Gabbard, would not be getting informed of. They're not going to be told about these things in regular briefings, such as the people up on Capitol Hill and in the White House. Just doesn't happen that way. So Hillary Clinton would have probably had behind-the-scenes knowledge that Tulsi Gabbard didn't. So to compare the two, no, Hillary Clinton was not believing lies. Hillary Clinton was part of this war machine that wants to stay in war. Now, if you don't believe me, when she became Secretary of State, she was the Secretary of State for a president who ran, as we discussed yesterday, as a candidate that he was not going to be pro-war. And, of course, he flopped on that one as soon as he took office. We wound up bombing all these other countries. She was very much behind the regime change in Libya. Okay? So, and she was also very big on taking on Assad in Syria. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that Bashar al-Assad is a great guy, he's just this wonderful person, should be left alone. I'm not saying that at all. But the problem has anyone not paid attention to what's going on here? So Saddam Hussein was an evil guy as well. Saddam Hussein also was very well known for keeping terrorist factions at the time out of Iraq. Okay? You have to sit back and look at the bigger picture here at some point. And I know a lot of people are probably going to disagree with what I'm saying. To each their own. To each their own. If you disagree with me, that's perfectly fine. We live in a free country where you have the right to have a different opinion from me. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the way I see things is, you have to look at who is the lesser of the two evils. So Saddam Hussein was an evil, nasty dictator. We went in, we took him out, we destabilized the place by carrying on this war, and then it opened up the door for even worse factions to come in and just completely turn the country upside down. How'd that help anyone? Remember, it was the whole statement that the Bush administration was championing was that we would be welcomed as as, you know, freedom fighters and heroes and the saviors, basically, of the country, because we would be bringing peace and democracy. Yeah, how'd that turn out exactly? Okay? So, then Hillary Clinton was big on the whole Syria thing. Remember, she wanted to set up no-fly zones in Syria. Basically saying, yeah, if Russian plane flies over, we'll take it down. So, yes, Hillary Clinton is a very hawkish candidate. Period. Okay? She is. There's plenty of evidence to go around about that. Just on the foreign policy side of things. Okay? She's also flip-flopped on many other positions. And again, let's just remember one thing. What news network does The View come on? ABC. The Mickey Mouse News Network. Yes, the one owned by Disney. Now, it seems like I just made a video the other day talking about how corrupt that particular news network could be. Instead of reporting the actual news, they'd rather go with stories they think are going to make ratings or push propaganda. If you haven't seen the video, I'd recommend you go back and watch it, where Project Veritas released the leaked footage of the ABC News anchor Amy Robach talking about how she had all this information that's supposed to be breaking news now on Jeffrey Epstein nearly 3 years ago. And the people at the news network said, no. You're not going to talk about that. No one knows who he is. This is not newsworthy. Go complain about Trump. Okay? Same news network. Same news network that staged fake crime scene tape for a good background shot right here in my own backyard in Woodruff, South Carolina, because of an incident where a woman was found being held captive inside of a steel container on a big piece of property. It was a big news story a few years back. But some locals went out to the place, saw them setting up for a news broadcast, put 2 posts in the ground. You couldn't see the posts on camera. They had it zoomed in enough where the posts were cut out, and just ran some crime scene tape post to post. So it looked like they had a nice, crime scene background. Same news network. So yeah. Now you've got all these people on The View like Joey Behar trying to smear Tulsi. You know, following the status quo, you know, party line. She's a Russian asset. She's a foreign agent. He's a traitor. This and that. And then has the nerve to look at her, Joey Behar does, and then try to, you know, pretend like, oh, well, it wasn't that much serious, and we didn't accuse you of this and that, and blah, 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 blah. And what evidence do you have that Hillary Clinton is a warmonger? How dare you say something bad about her? So, I think for the time that Tulsi Gabbard got, I think she really exposed that news network, and you can tell that just what she was able to get out within that little bit of time really got under Joey Behar's skin a lot. You could just see her. She almost looked like Nancy Pelosi during that State of the Union speech, just sitting there sucking her dentures the whole time. Just you could just tell, man, that was a serious bee in her saddle. And she couldn't stand it. So here's my recommendation to all you geniuses over at ABC and The View. If you don't like Tulsi Gabbard going on your show and reaming you new ones, I would suggest you stop pushing all this false propaganda crap that she is some sort of a traitor to her country, all because she has stances that may happen to fall in line with the Russians, such as we should not be poking our noses in so many countries around the world to conduct all these wars. And the biggest line of that, well, it's the same stance the Russians have, but why are all these Russian bots supporting you? Well, if she has a view that people in Russia could agree with, I think we need to quit looking at the world when it comes to Russia through a toilet paper roll and start looking at it through a bigger lens here, people. Because just because we had a Cold War with the Russia, just because we still have tensions with Russia, does not mean that there could never, ever, 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 ever possibly be the situation where we and the Russians could have common ground on the correct things. That's what diplomacy is. You have to look where you have common ground and where you can agree. Now, I'm not saying we should be bending over kissing Russia's backside by no means. But when it comes to the fact, we shouldn't be poking our noses in other countries, worry about our own backyard, stop carrying out all these regime change wars all around the world, and Russia says that, hey, guess what? That's something where we should be able to agree with Russia on because we're in the wrong and our military-industrial complex is lobbying these politicians to keep it going so they can just line their pockets. So perhaps this is one issue where Russia has it right. We should not be carrying all these wars on all around the world. So they have bots that post on social media or whatever to support that candidate. Now, I know a lot of people look at that, well, that's foreign interference in our elections. They shouldn't be allowed to do that. They should keep their nose out of our elections. They're not part of this country. Okay, valid point. But you got one problem. The United States pokes its nose into a lot of other elections. It was very well documented that the Obama administration was very much trying to poke their nose into Israeli elections to get Bibi Netanyahu out of office. That's an ally. Israel is an ally to the United States. So we poke our nose in other people's elections, yet we don't want them to do the same to us. So again, it becomes an issue here of, while you may have a good point that, yes, Russians should not be poking their nose into our elections, we need to also start practicing what we preach here too. And if we're not doing that, then we're coming out at the end of the day looking like a big bunch of hypocrites to anyone who studies the whole spectrum and again, doesn't look at this issue through a toilet paper roll instead of a nice big telescope. Okay? So, again, man, to the ABC people, either stop pushing your propaganda or stop inviting Tulsi on your network because she's going to make you look like a bunch of idiots every single time. Tulsi does not care. And if anything now, she's really committed to go all in and hit this with everything she's got. If the gloves weren't off before, and I think they were, they certainly are now. I think she had the gloves off before. Now she's put the brass knucks on too. Okay? Because she's already said, yeah, I'm all in on this presidential election because I'm not running for re-election in Congress. So yeah, she's all in now. And so for all you people, the attacks, I feel like they're going to step up a notch. And so I'm very curious to see also how things go in this next debate she's got coming up, because she'll be on stage, I believe, with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in the next debate too. So keep your eyes open because things might be getting very interesting very soon. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Independent Report. If you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up and like the video. Also, if you have any questions or comments that you'd like to ask or topics you'd like us to cover, please drop a comment in the comment box below. And also, please subscribe to the channel. And if you do subscribe, ring that bell so you'll stay up to date when we drop new videos and you'll get notifications of it. And also, please support us on Patreon. Funds are going to be used to grow and improve this channel so we can reach more and more people and spread the message that the mainstream media doesn't want to tell people. We hope you'll tune in next time.